so you can
Good afternoon, everybody. You are tuning in with Mandy-Lynn on Local 107.3 FM, your favorite and only community radio station. And I am really excited today because we have back on a guy, you might have seen him around a few times, but we have on Brian Gallant.
How are you?
Great, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you taking the time out of your very busy days right now.
Oh, it's all good. I'm enjoying myself, and it's nice to be able to come and chat a little bit with you.
Absolutely. And so tell me what's been going on since we spoke last, other than I'm not doing hula hooping anymore and I'm being safe.
Well, life is busy, but busy's good. Obviously, we are in a campaign right now, and we're going all across the province, crisscrossing the province to see as many people as possible, go to as many communities as possible, listening to New Brunswickers about some of their thoughts, their suggestions, ideas, and even their concerns. And of course talking about our plan to create more opportunities for New Brunswickers and do everything we can to have a fairer economy in our province.
Absolutely. And so you are the second youngest Prime Minister. I was giving you a grade already. You're the second youngest Premier, and since 1870, I think, since a man named George. And how does that feel?
Well, I can tell you, I never met George, so I can't confirm that statistic or not. But you know what? People will sort of look at different types of stats and stuff. I mean, I think that's fine, but that really doesn't resonate with me. What resonates with me is being able to wake up every single day and have my job description be do everything you can to try to make this beautiful province better and try to make the lives of the people of our province better. And I'm very privileged to have the opportunity to do that. I enjoy what I do. It's not always easy, of course, but I really appreciate having the opportunity to be able to try to improve the lives of New Brunswickers. So that's really what I'm focused on, and the only stats that I care about is what is moving this province forward to help New Brunswickers have a better quality of life.
Right, sure, and I think that you're doing a tremendous job with that, absolutely. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, as a radio host, my job is to stalk people a little bit, to learn a little bit about them, but not too much, but enough about them, like a mediocre amount. Right. And all kidding aside, though, so you were pretty responsible since you were really young. Your principal thought that you were going to be something big, and also you put yourself through school, I understand, not having one business, but two, because one just wasn't enough. Why not have two, right?
Yeah, well, you're very kind to say that. I mean, look, just like anybody in this province, I went through some tough times when I was a kid, and our family had some financial challenges at one point, but we were a tight-knit family, and we got through it. And I think that experience really resonated with me and continues to resonate in the sense that I know that there are New Brunswickers and families in our province that are struggling to get ahead and they need some support and help. So that has been driving me ever since I was a kid to try to make a difference for our province and our communities. And I can tell you that I got involved in student politics when I was young. I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to continue to do that. I liked the idea of student politics, that basically the job description there is try to make the life better for the people that you represent in your class or your school or your university, whatever the case might have been. So I really enjoyed that, and I wanted to do more of it, and I got involved in provincial politics. I was privileged enough and lucky enough to be chosen to be the leader of the Liberal Party, then got into the legislature, and I was so humbled to have the chance to become Premier, and I've appreciated the support New Brunswickers have given to me, and I'm going to do everything I can during the next few weeks to earn their trust yet again for a second mandate.
Of course, and thank you for that, Mr. Premier. And so, you, if I look back at Brian Gallant 6 years ago or 7 years ago to now, you knew what you wanted from the beginning. You were very, I'd like to say, level-headed. If you had an idea, a vision, and that was obviously a better New Brunswick. And I know that you've been working around the clock, trying to make sure that you're getting the message out. Actually, I can't go anywhere. I don't know, between you and James Mollinger, I can't look at a poster board, or I can't anywhere without. So I don't know who's winning the election. If it's you or James, I'm not sure who's winning.
Well, yeah, James is a great New Brunswicker, and anytime that I can be compared to him and named in the same sentence, I take that as a great compliment. And of course, I always worked hard. So for me, it's nothing different in terms of working long hours and being passionate about what you do. Like you mentioned, I started 2 small businesses when I was young so I could go to university in our province. I was somebody that worked very hard at school as well, and I was very involved in student politics. So the long hours and the sort of, day in, day out kind of working on something you're passionate about, I'm really used to that. So doing that as Premier obviously is a whole new level, but it's really the same premise. You love what you do, you're passionate about making a difference for the people of our province, so you're more than willing to put in the long hours to do what you can to better the lives of the people of our province. Of course, it has a bit of its toll on family and friends, and I'm incredibly lucky to have family and friends and my beautiful, amazing, patient wife, Karin, who allows me to do this and supports me very much in doing this. Obviously, she also, from time to time, grounds me as well and makes me realize.
To your room, or?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Brian, get to your room.
Well, yeah, not to that extent, but she will ground me in the sense that she'll remind me that I got to make sure that I spend some time to stay healthy and to be there with my family, spend time with her and our awesome dog Blaze, and really sometimes disconnecting a little bit from your job is a good thing as well. It helps you gain perspective and really kind of refocus your efforts. So she does that, because sometimes I will maybe go a little hard. So at times she'll remind me to take a little bit of a break, spend some time with her and the family, and refocus my efforts.
Yeah, some you time. That's always good, to just be able to disconnect for a little bit, to mentally reset.
Absolutely, and every day I try to go to the gym. I try to do a workout, so that helps a lot as well. But there's no doubt that I have to make sure that I carve out some time to spend with my parents, my brother, my sister, my nephew, nieces, and of course with Karin and Blaze. And I was really lucky. Yesterday I had about 12 of our family members, some aunts and uncles and cousins that came to join us on the bus. So that was quite nice, and a reminder of me to do everything I can to try to mesh all of these things together.
I didn't get the invite for the bus. That's weird. I waited at the bus stop. That's strange. Next time.
Yeah, that's weird. I think maybe I emailed you the invitation. Maybe you got lost. I don't know.
And that's possible. So actually, now that I think about it, the last time that I did see you was when Justin Trudeau came to St. John, and he declined me brushing his hair. So I wasn't able to do that. But he did take my phone number just in case he decides later down he needs a new stylist.
I'm sure the RCMP officers around him weren't alarmed by your request at all. There,
it was typically normal. It was typically, they're like, that's Mandy-Lynn, we're used to it. Yeah. That's totally fine. That's her everyday behavior.
There you go.
And great. So, on a couple of questions that I have for you from some of the listeners, was one of them, what are you watching on Netflix? That's an important one. And who pays the Netflix? Is it you or your wife?
That's very
hard-hitting questions.
Very interesting. We share an account.
Okay.
Right now we're actually watching New Girl.
Okay.
So I don't know if you ever watched that that show, pretty funny show. So we sort of put that on once in a while. Normally when we're done our day, we sort of try to put something on Netflix and just sort of change the tunes a little bit and try to get back to the real world for a little bit, and then we're able to sort of get to bed a little easier that way, and then obviously we start up and work again. I think we both pay for it. Yeah, I guess that's the way I would describe that.
The $7.99. We were really concerned. Some people were really concerned about that. So the next question that I have for you is, you and I were talking about this not long ago, was about, so I'm a comedian. All of our comedian friends, our community, because you're very supportive, even though we haven't yet had comedy recognized as an art. It's something that we're working on. But I know you're very supportive of everything that we do, and you're always messaging us and, telling us, good job, and which we really appreciate and love. And I guess we were talking about this not long ago, Nikki, James, and I, and that was that you got to go on This Hour's 22 Minutes. You did that with Mark Critch, who's going to be on Tuning with Mandy-Lynn Local 107.3 next month to discuss his book, Son of a Critch. Good title, yeah.
That title made me smile. For sure.
And so you got to do that. So we talk a little bit about, I had Dawn on 2 weeks ago, our Mayor Dawn Darling, talking about the city, talking about growth, talking about change, talking about bringing more people to St. Awesome. And as somebody that is active in my community, I can't stress that enough, that we're starting to see changes. We're starting to see St. John more in a bigger presence than what it was before. And so talk a little bit about your experience, because you did it backwards. We had to work forever to get on TV, but you started on TV, and now we can't wait to see you at a Yuck Yucks here in St. John. Talk about that.
Well, a few things. So first off, you're absolutely right to say that comedy and the arts are a way for us to be able to communicate who we are, be able to have discussions about who we want to be as a a group of individuals, as a province, as a country, whatever the case may be. And you're right, it was an amazing opportunity to be on This Hour Has 22 Minutes. I'll tell you, I was a bit nervous about it because obviously it's a little out of my comfort zone, but the cast there were fantastic, and they made it as easy as possible, and I had a really good time. And I'll tell you as well that there's no doubt that comedians and artists really do play a role in not only letting ourselves have a discussion of who we are and who we want to be, but also letting others know who we are.
Sure.
And I thought This Hour Has 22 Minutes was a great opportunity to be able to do that, right? To be able to go and tell the rest of the country what we're doing here in New Brunswick by obviously making fun of ourselves, teasing ourselves a little bit, but of course making the
lighthearted.
That's right, and making the implicit messages that we're a great place to be. And you're right to say here in St. John, I mean, there's a renaissance happening. There's no doubt about that. And the ECMAs that we hosted not too long ago here in St. John, I think was a great example of that. I think the organizers were incredibly pleased with the not only pouring of support that they had, but also the great organization and talent that were a part of the ECMAs here in St. John. So I think it was a great reminder to not only our province, but to everybody across the country that we have a lot going on here in St. John and in the province. And you're right to say, just real quick, that I am a big supporter of yours and many others that are trying to make it work here in New Brunswick. A good friend of mine, Julien Dionne, is a comedian, somebody that I grew up with, went to high school with. He's a great guy, and I know that he has a lot of respect for a lot of you as well, and that he wants to collaborate with all of you. So through him, I get a good sense of what's going on, what are some of the challenges and, of course, opportunities in that field.
Yeah, and with ours, it's trying to get it recognized as an art. So we've been working collectively to try to do that, to get comedy recognized as one. And I know that, it definitely is a lot more people are aware of that. And so moving on to the next question is, what are some of the changes or what are some of the things that you would like to implement this year? Because that's a question that I know it's talked about, but that you would like people to know.
Well, a re-elected Liberal government will focus on helping create more opportunities and a fairer economy. So we want to raise the minimum wage to $14 by 2022. We want to freeze power rates for New Brunswickers for 4 years. We want to invest more in education and strategically in education. Today I was actually on the campus announcing that we're going to enhance our free tuition program, allowing New Brunswickers the chance that need the most support, I should say, New Brunswickers that need the most support, have the chance to be able to study at a college or university here in our province. And it will also enhance the tuition relief for the middle class program, providing more upfront financial support for the middle class to be able to study here in New Brunswick as well. We want to make sure that we improve wait times in our healthcare system. We want to invest in our roads, our bridges, our hospitals, our schools, our nursing homes, and all of this with the idea of doing everything we can to create more opportunities and a fairer economy for all New Brunswickers to be able to participate in the economic growth that we're creating together. And
a question was that I had from somebody was, have you guys looked at removing the HST off home oil and gas and power?
Well, look, it's a fair question. Instead of going that route, though, we're looking at freezing the power rates for families in our province that are struggling to get ahead, and for small businesses as well. And we think that the second part of that will help small businesses be able to create more economic opportunities here in the province, and of course helping families with the cost of power rates. By freezing them for 4 years, are going to help them be able to put more money in their pockets so they can invest in their futures.
Absolutely. And so the very final thing is, when people are ready to go and to place their votes, which, by the way, anyone listening, you're tuning in with Mandy-Lynn on Local 107.3 FM, and I'm here with Premier Brian Gallant. And I just want to say quickly that voting is super, super important. If you want to make a change, if you have any thoughts or anything, voting is so important. And making sure you get out there to vote is the first step of voting. And that's the same thing that I tell people, when the first step to going to a comedy show is buying tickets. What stats show that 100% of people that don't buy tickets to a show can't go to a show. So 100% of you listeners right now that aren't voting, it's not, it's really important. So talk a little bit about that, Brian.
Well, Mandy-Lynn, you're absolutely right. It is very important to vote. Obviously, the direct impact of someone voting is that it has an influence on the election. But also, when you vote, there's so many other indirect things that are important. I mean, you're communicating that whatever groups you represent, could be your age group, could be your region, whatever it is, you're demonstrating that you're stepping up, that group is stepping up to vote, which is important. Also, a lot of people don't recognize this, that subsidies will go to the political parties, right? Afterwards, the vote tally will decide how many of the or how much of the subsidies will go to each party, so that's important as well. So I couldn't have said it better. It's very important for people to vote, and we encourage everybody to go out and vote. Do a little bit of research if you can, so it can be an informed vote, and you can see what the parties are about, and you can see where they want to take the province. For me, I think what's important is that when people come to vote is that we've made, I think, some great gains over the last 4 years. The economy has grown. We're providing free tuition and free childcare for those that need it the most. We're helping the middle class with the cost of tuition and childcare through our new financial support. We are investing in our infrastructure, supporting small businesses by cutting their taxes over the last 4 years. We are developing our natural resources responsibly, making sure that we protect our environment at the same time. We're doing all of these things that are helping move our province forward and create a better quality of life for New Brunswickers. So there are still challenges, but there are lots of opportunities.